what would you do to make sure that you got the most out of that relationship when you were working with an agency?
If I was employing an agency,
Yeah.
pay them lots of money all of the time.
Yes, double every invoice.
We've said it a number of times, be transparent, share loads,
Yeah.
share the whole thing.
Yeah.
Don't hold anything back, because there's nothing really to be gained from it. So we thought a lot about that. It's why a lot of what we do is around de-risking fees, so that there isn't this huge one-off decision. We've set up our, we made our life difficult because we've set it up so that we have to prove we're good at multiple stages throughout.
Which app do you wish that you had been involved in creation of? Cool. So here we are for our second episode in the podcast. Obviously, the first one went pretty well, in so much as the budgets have gone up. I was about to say the budgets have gone up because we've got coffees this time.
Well, you have.
You've got water, so
Yeah,
maybe it's just an inequality thing.
that's about right.
So last time round, we were talking about an introduction to build the right product and everything else inside there, the importance of alignment, etc., etc. And we made some reference about agency relationships and making sure that they're great and choosing the right agency and how they can make and break the entire product and everything else. So that's what we're going to talk about today, which hopefully is what you're expecting. We're going to run through a few different bits and pieces, but obviously, Tim, you're our account director, so I have introduced you this time.
Well done.
So it's a big part of your role, making sure that not only we're delivering on our promises, but also that the relationships are great and the clients love the experience as well, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's a lot of what I do, and it's building that trust at the beginning. Is a lot of my job, and then maintaining that, so making sure we deliver on what everyone's after.
Good, got the right person then. So, I guess start at the start. Choosing an agency.
Yeah.
Scary prospect, probably. It's obviously a large leap from a client's point of view. If you flip it around, if you're on the other side of the table, how would you go about that, choosing the right agency for you?
Well, we've obviously thought a lot about this, because it's what we do. So we want people to feel like we're the right choice for them. And we've looked a lot at what people are thinking and that process. And it's quite, because it often comes down to an individual making a recommendation to their company that this is the right partner. And that can be miserably scary for people, because if it's not the right partner, you'll get the blame. It could affect your career, essentially. So we thought a lot about that. It's why a lot of what we do is around de-risking fees, so that there isn't this huge one-off decision. We've set up our, we made our life difficult because we've set it up so that we have to prove we're good at multiple stages throughout. So that initial call that people make to us and those first couple of meetings is kind of around communicating that and building that trust, building chemistry, so they can understand that we're people that they want to work with. That's why we don't let you in too many of those initial calls.
Yeah.
And to try and drive that, kind of build that trust initially. Yeah,
because I guess we're maybe quite unique in some of that, in so much as we don't do any lock-ins anywhere, right? So it has to be great, and it has to continue to be great with that. And it is I guess a leap of faith, isn't it? Like you say, people are putting their names to it, and so there's a certain amount of natural nervousness.
Yeah.
I guess hand in hand with the kind of that side of things is mistakes that maybe people have made, or that either you've seen, or common mistakes that people might make, not necessarily in choosing the agency. I'm not talking about specific agencies, but in the process, not looking for the right.
Do a list of the ones they shouldn't choose.
We're good.
Well, obviously, not choosing Sonin would be the first one. Anyone that's made that mistake. A lot of people in the bid to de-risk things, build a process that removes that chemistry piece and that understanding piece.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about like RFP processes that are really strict. We can't have a meeting with you. That possibly wouldn't be fair.
Fill out this 38-page document.
Right. Put a number on a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And I can't kind of imagine a worse idea for choosing someone you're going to work with over the next 2, 3, 5 years on something that could be quite a high ticket item, just based on the outcome of a spreadsheet, doesn't feel, it removes the differentiation between people, and it's just a race to the bottom.
Yeah, right. Because although ostensibly an app is a product that's produced, the ways and the people go about it and the offerings that people have associated to it are completely different. And those spreadsheets are aimed to turn everything into the same thing, aren't they?
Yeah, it's an assumption that everyone is the same thing in some form. Yeah, it removes differentiation, and it's kind of, I feel like it increases risk, if anything.
Yeah.
I understand the requirement for a fair process.
Yeah.
Yeah. But one that you can understand what you're trying to buy better than a spreadsheet, RFP, that kind of stuff. That's also quite hard.
Yeah. I guess the natural question is that you've spoken about and alluded to trust and chemistry inside there. But why is that important? Why does that matter? Why not just fill out the spreadsheet, get 3 quotes, and
just one more?
Yeah. Or like buying a good bottle of wine, the second most expensive one.
Middle one. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's about offering. We've spent a long time on our proposition and offering and making that align to what businesses want to get out of something.
Yeah.
And for us, we kind of mentioned on the last podcast, there's a lot about understanding the business and deep diving into the business. We make decisions, our process is very collaborative, but inevitably we make decisions all the time. And the more we can understand a business, the better those decisions can be. Building that understanding, trust, and letting that agency in is a big deal. Sharing everything, the more you can share, the better informed those decisions are going to be. I think if you build that trust, it also allows our clients kind of hand over the responsibility of a lot of what we do, and they then let us use our expertise and experience to build the best thing, build the right product. There you go, we got it in there. Whereas if you haven't got that, maybe the relationship's a little bit more one-sided, so you're dictating what you want.
I guess that's an interesting thing, because agencies are different, right? And approaches are different, and sometimes it's about understanding what it is that you do want from it, right? Because undoubtedly there are places where take this and build it might be right for some people. Yep. Equally, I know we've had feedback from clients, because we always get feedback, whether we win or whether we lose. And some of the feedback's been like, we knew what we wanted to achieve, but we didn't know what it was going to be yet, and we wanted somebody to come along and work with us to discover it and find the way out. Now, if those two different agencies have both filled out the spreadsheet, you'd have probably ended up with a similar answer, right? But it isn't necessarily reflective of what it is they want to get out of it. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, exactly that. And it's a discovery that we talked about again in the last podcast that kind of brings people to that point. You don't get to do that on that spreadsheet. You fill it out. What does it look like now? I don't know. Again, we've made our life miserably hard, haven't we? Because, we're going to go and do the work to figure out what it should be. It's a lot easier for us just to say, here's 10 cool ideas and here's the cost for building them. And we've done it before and you should choose us. That would be easier.
Yeah.
But it doesn't build the right product. It doesn't do what we say we're going to do. So, yeah. So that's why the whole chemistry and trust thing, I think is really, really important. We've removed ourselves from processes in the past where that hasn't been possible, because we're sure that we won't be allowed in enough to build the right product. So if we can't build something that's good, that's going to get a return, we're not that keen.
Yeah. And I guess that's we talk about it, the minimum target relationship being 5 years, right? And if you're looking for a more transactional thing, then again, there are agencies that will fill that. Sure. But if you're looking for something that's a little bit longer, then it has to be something whereby you're attached to the success of it and everything else, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think if you're looking for that long relationship, you have to invite people in, and to invite them in and share all the business stuff, you have to trust them. So
yeah. Nice. Okay. So you've chosen an agency.
It's on
him. You're underway, you're working together. How do you go about making sure that you get the best out of, I guess, each other, right? Because it's two sides.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's a partnership, right?
Yeah.
And so if you view it as a partnership, that you understand that, I think you get the best out of both things. Our greatest relationships with client has been when that understanding has been set, that it's a partnership that we have to achieve as well. We have to get something out of the relationship as well. That, there's that saying, it's service, not servitude. You're not dictating stuff and demanding stuff. And by doing that, by setting up that partnership and sharing those goals, if you've chosen the right agency, they're as motivated as you could possibly want anyone anyway. Like, our clients share deadlines with us and the reasons behind those deadlines, and we know how important those things are, for example. And we hit the deadlines because we want that relationship and we want it to be great, and all of those things.
Yeah.
That the idea that it's dictatorial, if you just shout, that kind of stuff, doesn't build the best relationship. I don't think it's a buy-in. So I think it's kind of how you can get the best out of your agency.
I guess that there is a propensity to treat an agency at arm's length, right? And when you're talking about those timelines and deadlines, not to share the impact of them and everything else in there, which obviously then means that your agency can't react and be engaged with it in the same manner, which it should be, right? Because it's mutually beneficial. We always talk about the fact that all of our attachment to making sure that we build the right product and there's value is miserably self-serving. The better it does, the more you probably want to do. We're very heavily incentivized to make sure that this thing is really good, right?
Yeah.
So I think, like you say, that sharing is super important. There's also that interesting thing that we had before when talking about the partnership piece versus a transactional bit. We had the client that turned around, I can't remember if it was a client or the procurement person, very experienced chap, and he said, we're going to be working on this together for a long time.
Yeah.
And things are going to go well. And then at some point, things are going to go less well. They're bound to. And it's about understanding how you guys are going to react and how the relationship will work with that. Because, that's the reality of life, right?
Yeah.
It's the same reality of internal teams as it is external teams. And it's about that.
Yeah.
How it endures.
It is. And as the account manager, someone whose role it is to foster that relationship and build it, part of me, the sadistic part, quite enjoys the first hurdle, because we react and a client will see us react, and we're, they've got a problem they need solving really quickly, for example, and they see our team rally around, turn up at all hours of the day and achieve something, and that trust is then set for good then. So yeah, it is how you work together. Yeah. But again, you have to, it's a shared thing. You have to put trust in your agency and work with them, share a lot, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you talked there about the pressure of deadlines and things like that. I think one of the interesting bits maybe is how much relationships can change over time, as in all human relationships, right? But the kind of attachment to inviting your agency in and getting them engaged with your goals is really fascinating, because I'm thinking about some examples of some of our previous clients. As you said in the first episode, you've been here for, what was it, 50 or 60 years?
Yeah, it feels that way sometimes.
Just half your life. One of the clients that I think was one of your first clients when you joined here, and at that point we're trying to produce this platform that was orientated around trying to capture the whole industry into one piece, right?
Yeah.
And their goals at that point were very different to maybe where they ended up at the next phase.
Yeah, they moved a lot from so we took them from that very early stage discovery 14 odd years ago, and then building the platform, releasing it, supporting that, and then it grew and was taking an awful lot of money through the platform, and there were new challenges there, and then on to being sold. So then they went through the acquisition process and all that stuff, and the challenges changed again. Yeah. That's a great. I love that. It's a shame that they sold, because for us, because we loved working on that.
Yeah. What would you say the challenges from your point of view, from an agency standpoint, in that relationship across that 14 odd years were?
it was staying close enough where you evolve and change with them, for sure. They were a good client in the sense that they let us in. So they were happy to meet with me, talk about what was coming next and all those things, and share everything. So we were prepared and ready, and we could plan ahead. And I think they understood as well, which another thing as well is that we need the more foresight we can get, the better we are.
Yeah.
More of a roadmap you can build out together. You can make sure you're in the right place at the right time when you need to be. So they did that. They had lots of collaboration, lots of sharing, and telling us what was happening. Even when they, a lot of, for example, built a great platform, and maybe at the point that they decided that they were looking to sell that might have been something they didn't share with their agency, because usually that platform would be taken in-house by anyone that buys it. Maybe they wouldn't choose to share that, but they did, and we got to work a lot better over that period of time as well with them. So I hold that one quite dear, because it's quite a success story, right? Because we were in there drawing stuff on whiteboards 14 years ago.
Yeah.
And now we don't have any shares in that. That maybe should have been something I did. But now those guys have done very well and sold the platform, and we were involved throughout.
Yeah. It is fascinating how these things kind of change and move, and there is definitely a propensity to not, if you're going through a sales process, to not tell the agency. And ultimately the business is going to sell, and it's much better to have an open relationship so that you can help with handovers and everything else, because there's a natural life cycle to everything, right? And ultimately, it's like we said before, we want to generate the value, we want it to work well, and hopefully they'll go on and refer and et cetera, et cetera. So
well, they bought us a very nice lunch when they sold, so that was a success story, isn't it?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah.
You enjoy not paying for a meal?
I enjoy every meal. Cool. Okay, so well, we talked about that as a startup. I guess there's we deal with everything from funded startups to global multinationals, and over the years we've probably learned a fair bit.
Yeah.
What have you helped over? What have you helped? Oh, that's a bit to the point, isn't it?
Yeah, you helped.
What are you
You're going to follow up with the P45.
Surprise. What would you say are the key kind of learnings over the course of the last 14 years or so that help us with ensuring the relationships work really well for the client?
Our values as a company, and we worked quite hard on those.
Yeah.
And they underpin everything we do.
Yeah.
So we understand, we care, and we're always thinking. Those things, we employ people, we do people's reviews at the end of the year based on those things. They underpin everything, and they come through everywhere. So that's huge for us. That kind of always thinking about the client and their business, and the understanding piece where we are always trying to gain more understanding. Massive impact. As well, I'm reasonably miserable about most things.
Yeah, a few more than that.
Yeah. So when marketing present me with our core values, I kind of will be reasonably dismissive, but I've been proved wrong completely. Like it's everything, those core values, and a lot of what we do now, a lot of what I do, what I've learned is the stakeholder management so important. So mapping stakeholders within an organisation. An awful lot of what we do is kind of running around between those stakeholders and making sure that everybody's got what they need, that they're looked after, that their voice is heard, and all of those things. Is that working with bigger and bigger organisations, and now we work with some of the biggest. They don't have the time to get together and decide and give us one voice. That's unrealistic. We have to do the legwork and go out and make sure all their voices are heard. And doing that and making sure that everybody gets what they need from us has been that's a big learning. That's been pretty cool.
So again, sitting on the other side of the table, what would you do to make sure that you got the most out of that relationship when you were working with an agency?
If I was employing an agency?
Yeah.
What would I do? I kind of...
Tim's top 5 tips.
So yeah, it feels like it, doesn't it? Pay them lots of money all of the time.
Yes, double every invoice.
No, we've said it a number of times. Be transparent. Share loads.
Yeah.
Share the whole thing.
Yeah.
Don't hold anything back because there's nothing really to be gained from it.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of like behave how you want your agency to behave with you, right? Like if you just want to get them to go and build it, then just tell them the thing to build. But if you want them to engage in your success, then give them the opportunity, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'd treat that, not treating them like just a vendor, like a partnership.
Yeah.
Big one. Relying on their expertise, trusting in that. If you've built enough trust to choose them, trust it, that they know what they're doing. And I think that's it really. It's build the trust and then let them do their thing is what I'd want to do. I love it when our clients are collaborative. Like they want to be involved in the, not just go away and build something and come back. So that's really important as well.
I always shy away from the term partnership because I just feel like it's used so much now, right? By essentially the 20 to 30 LinkedIn messages I get a day.
Yep.
Are all partnership requests, but it kind of has to be like that, doesn't it? To get the most out of both parties, for it to work together, for you to be aligned and on the same page.
I think so. I think in what we do and what we build big complex systems.
Yeah.
I think if it's not that, if it's something quite simple, maybe being a bit more transactional is fine. But I think it is. Yeah, I just like the word partnership as well because let's use it too much. But yeah, if it's the stuff we do, I think that's what you need to be part. Yeah. Partner.
You have catchphrases around trusted advisor. I think we can probably get that into every single episode.
Have we not said it yet? Because I don't think we said it on this one. Yes, we do want to be a trusted advisor.
And then the other thing is around the idea that your agency are going to give you something more, right? So we've talked about ideas and where they come from. We've talked about things like in the past we've done hackathons for clients to look at new technologies, new opportunities for them, things like that. All of that can only really work if they understand what's going on in the lay of the land, right? So if you want those relationships, then it's a bit of both sides kind of working together, right?
Yeah.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Oh, no.
You're welcome. I'm going to pull out the guns next. Right. Producer Greg's fun round.
I avoid fun as well, but go for it.
Tim the Fun Sponge. Also going on a t-shirt. Right. Another 2 questions for you today.
Mm-hmm.
Last time around, we talked about ideal clients.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about my park run.
That's another thing you'll get into every episode.
Okay, to everyone. And today, your 2 top questions. Which app do you wish that you had been involved in creation of?
There are any of the good ones. When I open a new app and it's really great, and damn it, that was one of our. Candy Crush is one of them. Because I read they're still doing $1 billion a year in revenue. $1 billion a year, still people are crushing candies. I'm paying for it.
That is an awful app.
Yeah.
In the whole world of apps.
$1 billion. I've got another one.
Hundreds of millions. And you've gone Candy Crush.
Did you not hear the billion? Another one I love is Duolingo. Because it uses, see, it's working. It uses all the stuff we talk about, like the psychological principles, getting users bought in.
Yeah.
Like our design team would talk about it in much better detail, and our product guys, but you see it everywhere when you download it, the way they move users through and engage you and deliver value quickly and get buy-in. It's annoyingly good.
Yeah, all the fantastic behavioural science around nudging people forward and
the micro interactions and the animations, and they've done. Yeah, I would have liked to have done
they start with that one and maybe leave Candy Crush to one side.
$1 billion.
Here is Tim from sales. All right, next one. Next question. Last question. Best thing about your job? I'm right here.
It's definitely not the not the MD. I've been asked this before, and it's understanding people's businesses. I'm interested in business. I like it, and we get because we've been talking about the whole episode. We get invited in, and people share stuff, and we get under the hood of business. When you start looking at systems and how data is and all that stuff, you really get a good indication of how things run. And we work across every industry. I think over the years we've probably done an app for every industry, and for multiple different sizes of company. So for me, that's the best bit of my job. I get invited in to see how it all works.
Mine too.
Ah,
Here's the best bit. Is absolutely fascinating, isn't he? The difference and the commonality across industries and companies is both on both sides fascinating.
absolutely. Everyone says that they have the same kind of problems, and they're the same problems we've been working with for the last 15 years. They're the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I think that's about all we have time for. So you could do the recap today. We run through what good relationships look like from both sides. I think we talked about the importance of understanding what it is that you want to get out the relationship as the on, and then making sure that you run a process that identifies that. So if you have a order taker, then find one that is very focused around the provision of the services. If you want somebody that's there in terms of a long-term partnership, then look for something that enables you to do that. We've talked about the importance of sharing and treating your agency as if they're part of the team, if you want to make sure that you get the most out of that. And then we've talked about your strange interest in being part of Candy Crush, which is going to come around for the next 6 months.
I'm going to keep saying $1 billion a year.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate your time. And I think next one of these that we're going to do isn't with you. So it's probably worth people coming back for. I think next time around we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the behavioural science stuff. We're going to run through some of the key ways that we go about understanding design interaction and how we can move people towards behaviours that the business wants to see to realise their value at the end of it.
That's fascinating stuff. I like that stuff.
Well, we can watch the next
I'll watch that one. I might not watch this one.
Lovely. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Cheers.